Days before India launches vaccine drive for citizens above 18, the prices of jabs are finally out. Bharat Biotech has announced prices of Covaxin. Nation's indigenous vaccine is going to be sold at 1,200 rupees per dose in private hospitals. The state hospitals are going to be selling it at 600. Serum Institute of India and Oxford's AstraZeneca candidate Covishield is going to be sold at 600 rupees in private hospitals, while state hospitals will sell it at 400 rupees. Bharat Biotech claims that their vaccine candidate is expensive than its competitor due to low process yields. The institution further says the development, manufacturing and clinical trial expenses were incurred by the firm itself. On 1st of May, India is going to be opening vaccination drive for all above 18. The Serum Institute of India has found itself in the eye of the proving story, with questions being asked on pricing of the product. It's found itself literally on the eye of the storm. Serum has defended itself, saying it has to invest in scaling up and expanding capacity to produce more shots, while opposition has slammed the centre's new vaccine policy, calling it discriminatory.
An ugly controversy right in the middle of a pandemic. After questions were raised by the opposition and many others on the costing of the vaccine, Covishield maker Serum Institute of India has defended pricing the vaccine at 1.5 times the initial rate. But is this justification cutting any eyes with those who say that Serum is having a free run? The company has now said the earlier pricing was based on advance funding, and now it has to invest in scaling up and expanding capacity to produce more shots. Serum Institute of India is manufacturing AstraZeneca's vaccine Covishield, and earlier this week announced a price of 600 rupees per dose and 400 rupees for state governments in any new contract by the central government. This compared to 150 rupees per dose it charges the central government for the existing supplies. This move invited criticism from many quarters. Actor Farhan Akhtar, among others, questioned why the price parity for centre and states. He then questioned what justified profiteering, asking why should the vaccine be so expensive, the most expensive in the world. This has also become a bone of contention between the centre and the opposition. Senior Congress leader Jairam Ramesh and the Ministry of Health in a back and forth on Twitter, with Ramesh questioning the differential rates and also asking why the prices of Covishield is the highest in the world. The ministry said, and I quote, "It is clarified that the Government of India's procurement price for both COVID-19 vaccines remain at 150 rupees per dose," unquote. The government also said that procured doses will continue to be provided totally free to states. The civil society also disapproving of the free hand given to Serum Institute.
What we have here is essentially a company that is taking full advantage of a public health emergency to profit, and the excuse that has been given that it needs to plow back profits into expanding manufacturing capacity.
The Serum Institute, in its defense, has said that they have to now ensure sustainability. There is great amount of uncertainty as far as the pandemic is concerned, and that they require this money to ensure that there is enough funds if there is capacity building that's required, if there is innovation which is required. They've also gone on to say that the price of the vaccine is actually much lower than the cost of many other essentials and medicines that are now being used to treat patients of COVID-19. In New Delhi, Sneha Mordani for India Today.
After Delhi High Court's whip on Kejriwal government and centre over oxygen shortage in the national capital, the Aam Aadmi Party government is once again caught in a soup over mismanagement. Oxygen suppliers have now blamed the Delhi government of not guiding suppliers on the logistics. The suppliers have alleged that oxygen allocations have been given by Delhi government to 12 suppliers, but they are not told which hospitals to deliver to. Oxygen suppliers have written to Kejriwal government asking for clarity. With a huge oxygen crisis looming over the national capital, mismanagement over internal logistics on the part of Delhi government is not acceptable at a time when people are gasping for air.
अब दिल्ली के अंदर मान लीजिए कहीं दिल्ली को जो ऑक्सीजन उनकी रिक्वायरमेंट के हिसाब से उनकी अपनी एक्सेप्टेंस के हिसाब से जितनी आवश्यकता से ज़्यादा भारत सरकार दे रही है। अब आपको अपना कोटा अपने सिस्टम में लाकर और उसको रेशनल तरीके से समयबद्ध तरीके से लोगों को डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना, ये जो फाइन प्लानिंग है ये तो सरकार को, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को ही करनी पड़ेगी ना। ये भारत सरकार तो सारी सुविधाएं आपके लिए उपलब्ध करा सकती है।
An unprecedented surge in COVID cases has left hospitals in Delhi desperate for oxygen. Several hospitals, including AIIMS Delhi and Jaipur Golden Hospital, red flagged oxygen shortage. Delhi High Court has lashed out, saying it would spare no one who is obstructing oxygen supply. Listen in.
Patients gasp for oxygen. Delhi hospitals raise alarm over shortage. Unreliable supply, desperate pleas of hospitals in Delhi court. With the oxygen crisis at its peak, the court cracks the whip, warns of crackdown if oxygen supplies hit. The court's words were, "Will hang anybody who obstructs the supply of oxygen." This strong lash out came after 25 patients lost their life in Delhi's Jaipur Golden Hospital.
अभी एक लेडी अंदर पड़ी हुई है, उसका हस्बैंड मारा है। वो तो पड़ी है सड़क पे, कोई कॉरिडोर में लेटी हुई है।
यहाँ आया हूँ तो आपके फादर एक्सपायर हो गए हैं। मैं कहा किस रीजन से? ऑक्सीजन के रीजन से। इतना पैसा मैं लगा रहा हूँ, ऑक्सीजन का सिलेंडर में 6 अरेंज करा देता कि मुझे बता देते तो रात को बता रहे हैं जब डेथ हो चुकी है पेशेंट की।
मतलब कि 2 घंटे तक पेशेंट जो है बिना ऑक्सीजन के तड़फ रहे थे। और सर बिलीव मी, बाईपैप लगे हुए जितने पेशेंट थे NIV सपोर्ट वाले सारे खत्म हो गए।
The court has termed the massive rise in COVID cases as a tsunami. A similar crisis was reported from India's premier hospital, AIIMS. The hospital refused to admit patients due to shortage of oxygen and claimed that they are overloaded.
We are at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in the national capital, and there is an acute shortage of oxygen being felt in the national capital, which is a reality, but it's getting worse by the day. And the situation is such that even an institute like All India Institute of Medical Sciences had to restrict admissions in the emergency services because there was an overload of patients and the oxygen pipelines had to be reorganized.
Hospitals are receiving oxygen, but not as per current demand, leading to constant crisis.
हमारे पास इस वक्त कोविड के 516 पेशेंट दाखिल हैं और इसमें से 128 बेड जो हैं वो ICU बेड हैं। जो बाकी बेड उनको सबको ऑक्सीजन लगी है और ज़्यादा ऑक्सीजन की जरूरत है। जो बाकी पेशेंट हैं उनमें भी 80% पेशेंट जो ऑक्सीजन पर है, तो ऑक्सीजन की रिक्वायरमेंट जो हमारी 4 टाइम ज़्यादा है। हमें सबको समझना चाहिए कि जो कोविड की लहर आई है इस बार, ये बिल्कुल सुनामी की तरह आई है।
The worrying shortage of medical oxygen has been flagged by several hospitals that are overwhelmed by thousands of new daily cases.
I've been waiting at the Delhi Secretariat to meet the Special Secretary Health for the past 2 hours to arrange oxygen. In the meantime, the oxygen at our hospital has finished completely. We really see no hope because there is no oxygen supply in the pipeline as well.
Delhi High Court has instructed Centre to ensure 480 metric ton of oxygen to Delhi and also asked Centre to provide a date for the full supply. The High Court has made it clear that it will not spare anyone who comes in the way of smooth supply of the life-saving commodity. Bureau Report, India Today.
As India gasps for oxygen, politics over oxygen cylinders has escalated. Delhi Chief Minister Kejriwal has written to all Chief Ministers requesting them to provide oxygen. In the letter, Kejriwal said that although centre has extended help, but resources are proving to be inadequate. Union Health Minister Harshvardhan hit back at Kejriwal, saying that Delhi has been given more quota of oxygen than it had asked for, and now it is up to the state government to utilise the oxygen quota. Meanwhile, Congress has blamed centre and Delhi government for the oxygen crunch. Congress's General Secretary Ajay Makan said that Parliamentary Standing Committee for Health and Family Welfare had advised centre to maintain oxygen supply to hospitals in Feb itself, yet no action was taken. Tamil Nadu continues to see a sharp rise in COVID cases. The state has recorded 14,842 fresh COVID cases in 24 hours with 80 deaths, highest single-day spike since the beginning of the pandemic. Tamil Nadu has a whopping 1,668 active cases, and to stop the spread of the virus, the Tamil Nadu government has announced stricter curbs that will come into effect from 4 a.m. on Monday. Cinema halls, gyms, bars, meeting halls are going to remain shut. Shopping malls, complexes are not going to be allowed to remain functional, I beg your pardon. Beauty parlors, spas, salons, barber shops are not going to be permitted to operate. Provision stores and vegetable shops are going to be allowed to function by following the standard operating procedure. Places of worship is also going to remain closed. More than 50 guests are not going to be allowed to gather for a marriage. 50% minimum employees of IT organization are going to be compulsorily working from home. Remember, the state government has imposed a night curfew between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. and complete lockdown on Sundays. And COVID continues to worsen in Uttar Pradesh as the state has recorded 38,055 cases and 223 deaths in the state on Saturday. This is the 6th consecutive day of the state recording a spike in COVID cases. Lucknow is the worst impacted with 5,461 cases, Prayagraj with 1,468, Kanpur with 2,044, Varanasi with 2,786, Meerut with 1,745. UP is the second worst hit state in India with over 2,88,000 active cases. Meanwhile, in order to ensure adequate supply of oxygen, the state government has launched a digital platform, Oxygen Monitoring System for UP, for 24/7 live monitoring of the oxygen supply system across the state.
While the second wave of coronavirus pandemic is wreaking havoc across the country, the VIP culture is also denying treatment to those who are in need. On Saturday, the Noida District Magistrate and the CMO conducted a kind of raid in many Noida hospitals and freed up nearly 200 beds that were occupied by these VIP COVID patients who didn't require immediate hospital attention or beds. Now, the Prakash Hospital, which is right behind me, has freed up 30 beds after the intervention of the district magistrate. 20 beds have been freed by GIMS, 62 by Yatharth Hospital, 33 by Kailash Hospital, 15 by Sharda, 23 by JP, 4 by Fortis, 19 by Sector 39 COVID Hospital, 2 by Indo-Gulf Hospital, 7 by JR, 2 by SRS Hospital, 5 by Surya Hospital and 4 by Metro Hospital. And this is not only the case of Noida. Across the country, such kind of raids are required for those who are using their contacts and getting a hospital beds without a requirement, denying treatment to those who are gasping for oxygen. With camera person Ravikant Totawar in Noida, this is Abhishek Anand reporting for India Today.
An undeniable gloom due to coronavirus pandemic surrounds the country, and amidst this avalanche of bad news, there are some brave hearts who are at the forefront of COVID fight. These heroes do not wear capes, but they wear PPE suits. Take a look.
Uphill battle for healthcare workers in their constant battle with the virus. Sleepless nights, never-ending shifts, and away from their families. These hero doctors have been through the worst. The fight still continues. 2 doctors from Sion Hospital in Mumbai have been at COVID duty since March 2020. The duo recount the problems they have been facing over the past 1 year and how they are still committed to save lives. Meet Dr. Akshay Yadav from Sion Hospital, who's been a COVID warrior since March 2020.
रोज जब उनका कॉल आता था काफ़ी बार मैं उठा पाता था, काफ़ी बार नहीं उठा पाता था। रोज ऐसा लगता था एक बार तो मिलके आ जाऊँ। तो एक बार जब मैं कोविड से रिकवर हो गया, उस दौरान जब मुझे कंफर्म पता था कि मेरे शरीर में एंटीबॉडीज रहेंगे और मैं उन्हें इन्फेक्शन ट्रांसफर नहीं करूँगा, एट दैट टाइम जस्ट फॉर 3 or 4 days I went to my home.
Akshay recounts the lockdown horror of 2020. Akshay is committed to his service but also feels overwhelmed by the magnitude of the crisis.
वो रिलेटिव्स बोलते हैं कि एक बार तो भी वीडियो कॉल करा दो। वो सिचुएशन मतलब एक बार तो मेरे आंखों से आंसू निकल गए। मैं नहीं करा सकता था, रिस्ट्रिक्शंस थे, मैं वीडियो कॉल नहीं करा सकता था एंड दे वर लाइक बेगिंग, एक बार डॉक्टर साहब, एक बार। अगर आपका कोई फैमिली मेंबर रहता तो आप कैसे सोचते? उस पॉइंट पे एक बार मैं ब्रेक हुआ था अपनी जिंदगी में।
Dr. Purva, a gynecologist in Sion Hospital, faced a difficult situation when a heavily pregnant lady came to the hospital for delivery. But carrying out a delivery in a PPE kit was a difficult task.
Sion is not a dedicated COVID hospital. But then the female had come fully dilated in labor. She was about to deliver. We couldn't send the patient to Nayar Hospital or Rajawadi.
Dr. Purva has been staying at the hospital and hasn't met her parents for months.
मैं घर नहीं जाती हूँ क्योंकि ये हमेशा थ्रेट रहता है. If I go home, I would be the asymptomatic carrier. I might be transferring the infection to my parents at home.
Akshay and Purva are not the only ones. Doctors across the nation are tirelessly fighting against time, lack of resources and supplies. India salutes these heroes in whites. Bureau Report, India Today.
Rajasthan Royals have finally ended two-match losing streak with a 6-wicket win. A poor batting performance from Kolkata Knight Riders helped Rajasthan in their cause as they registered their second win of the season. Take a look.
Nice touch,
After a valiant effort in the last game, Kolkata Knight Riders were back to their usual self. A slow start that fetched them just 25 runs in the power play, including a wicket, and then no big knock to follow. Rajasthan Royals bowled well, but KKR batsmen helped them in their cause.
Mighty impressive this evening.
Rahul Tripathi got a start, but he accounted for his skipper, running him out when Morgan had not even faced a ball.
And they got a little bit lucky there. There was real confusion.
With the score not going anywhere, Russell came in to bat after 5 down, and he could get just 1 6 before he was gone too.
It's the 4th time that Morris has Dre Russ.
KKR faltered their way to 133 for 9 on a wicket that has already seen 2 scores of 200 plus while batting first this season.
Rian Parag, he is outstanding. I thought for a moment he may have lost sight of it.
Royals knew they could not mess around this time, but lost Joss Butler early once again. Yashasvi Jaiswal got an opportunity at the expense of Manan Vora and got 22 but could not carry on.
Took a sweeper this time and Mavi has his revenge.
Captain Sanju Samson held one end and kept taking his team closer to the target despite losing wickets at the other end.
Oh Lord, that's a huge one. He throws at you. Goes for it, should be taken, yes.
There were a few hiccups on the way, but Rajasthan Royals knew the target wasn't too tall as they finally got that much needed second win of this season.
Samson, who hits the winning runs, leads his side.
Sports Bureau, India Today.
His team back to winning ways. They were desperate.
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.